Happy Mother's Day. You know, even though when we listen to that video, we're thinking that, of course, they're talking about the woman in the house, but they're really not, right? They're talking about the one that protects them, the one that loves them, the one that would die for them, the one that makes sure that they're still breathing, the one, and that does not necessarily mean it's the woman in the house, but it's that divine love in us that reflects the divine feminine. And we all have the divine feminine and the divine masculine in us. Genesis says, so God created humankind in his image. In the image, God created them, male and female. He created them. If it exists in God, then it must exist in us. Every time we nurture or support, whether cheerleader, nurse back to health someone, we are expressing our divine feminine nature. So today we celebrate Mother's Day for everybody. Happy Mother's Day to all. Yeah. Do you remember in the olden days when you used to have to pay extra to call long distance? Do you remember when you could actually call collect and make the person you were calling pay for it? Do you remember that? Is there anyone in the room that doesn't remember that? Alex his hand did not go up. All right. He does recall that. So, back in the olden days, when we used to have to do it that way, the most long-distance phone calls were made on Mother's Day, which is heartwarming, right? Because we're calling our mothers. It's a wonderful thing to know. The most collect phone calls were made on Father's Day. I just love that. I just love that. And it's hilarious. On this Mother's Day, we do celebrate the divine feminine aspect of God that resides in each and every one of us. That part of us that looks after one another, right? The part of us that is represented by the power of love. The Unity Seminary that I went to used Isaiah 61:1 as their mission statement. So I'd like to share that with you today. The Spirit of the Lord, the Eternal, is on me. The Lord has appointed me for a special purpose. He has sent me to bring good news to the oppressed and bind up the brokenhearted, and to declare to those who are held captive and bound in prison, be free from your imprisonment. Let's be clear. The Spirit of the Lord is on each and every one of us. Being born in the image and likeness of God, Unity's second principle tells us that we are divine. Having that aspect of God within us, we are divine. So each and every one of us has the Spirit upon us. And each and every one of us have been appointed for a special purpose. Nice. I loved that, yeah. If I said it again, would it work? Too funny. So we've been appointed for a special purpose, and Isaiah tells us what that is. He tells us that the first purpose is to bring good news to the oppressed. What's the good news? We are one. It's great news. That there is only one true sustainable power in the universe. That all things are temporary. This too shall pass. That no matter how bleak things may look, God will always find a way to use it for good. The universe is self-correcting. Our job is to let people know the truth that we know. The second thing he tells us that we have to do is bind up the brokenhearted. Now, to bind something up, it could be putting a bandage on it. It can also be to strengthen it or protect it. And did you hear those kids on that video? They were saying all of those things, right? Who takes care of me? Who cuts my peanut butter sandwich just right? Did anybody love a special sandwich that their mother made them? Oh, yeah. Yeah. Me too. We grew up, we didn't have any money growing up. So we would have peanut butter and pickle sandwiches. Did anybody else eat those? Yay! All right, you guys did. I have to tell you, if you have never tried it, give it a shot. I understand that it's a comfort food for me, but you might like it. You just never know. So my mother, the last day that she was on the planet, she could cut the pickle just perfect and just the right amount of peanut butter. Every time I saw her, I would say, "Mommy, you make it the best." And then she'd make fun of me for saying it, but I promise you she did. I loved it. Peanut butter and pickle. Yeah. So bind up the brokenhearted. You know, one of the greatest things that we mommies do is kiss the boo-boos and make them better. Yes. My daughter, she could not walk 5 feet without tripping, falling, or twisting something. So I probably kissed dozens of boo-boos. So how can we bind, how can we bandage the people that we come in contact with? An easy way, honestly, is to feed and clothe those in need. Outreach, any kind of outreach work that we do is going to be binding up the oppressed, the brokenhearted, those in need. It really isn't very hard to do it all. You can take non-perishable food and put them in your car, just have them at the ready. An extra bottle of water. How long does it take you from the time you leave your driveway till you see your first hungry person? It doesn't take me very long at all. How about you guys? So have that at the ready. You can bandage their need at that time. When I go through a drive-thru, I like to get a second meal so that when I go around the corner and I see somebody sitting there that's hungry, I give them the second meal. Simple, easy things like that we can do. But it also, binding can also mean strengthening. To strengthen or to protect. So how do we strengthen and protect those around us? The things that the feminine nature in us would do is be a cheerleader. I'm a natural-born cheerleader. I'm like, yay, is my favorite expression. Right there. I'm a natural-born cheerleader. Be a cheerleader. Answer the phone when somebody calls. Wait. Yeah. Don't wait to hear the message to find out what they want. Answer the phone. Use all of your feminine nature to listen intently and honestly to what they have to say. Support them in their hopes and dreams. Tell them that they got this. God's got it. Cheer for them when they're successful. Hold their hand when they're not. We all need to be strengthened. And another thing, I think everybody in this room, yep, I'm sure of it, everybody in this room is a teacher in some fashion. No matter what you do for a living, you teach people something. All of you do. Teaching someone strengthens them greatly. It contributes to their wholeness. And their wholeness contributes to their worthiness. Which brings us to the last thing that we're commissioned to do. Declare to those who are held captive and bound in prison, be free from your imprisonment. Declare to those who are held captive. That means we can't just act. We have to speak it. We can't just think it. We need to speak it, declare it, right? How do you declare? Be free from your imprisonment. First off, what would be putting someone in prison?
Fear.
Fear. Yes. You know what? Anytime I ask any question about what thing keeps us down, fear will always be a correct answer. Because no matter what the emotion is that I am experiencing, I promise you I can dig my way back and find fear underneath that negative emotion. I'm afraid that I'm going to lose something I have, not going to get something that I want, or somebody's going to find me out. One of those three things is behind it. So, gold star for Josh today. Thank you.
I want to see that shirt.
So, must be over. No. So the things that keep us bound and in prison are our thoughts. Our thoughts of fear. Our thoughts that we're not good enough. I can't do it. We learned something recently, one that keeps us down a lot is, I already know that. Woohoo! You know how many times I've found myself thinking that? Now I'm quick enough to catch myself before it gets out of my mouth. I already know that. Will keep us from learning faster than anything. You know, many of us here have found, through the Unity Principles, the ability to get freedom from those thoughts. We have found through the principles a way to bring ourselves back to center, to recognize the truth about our being and our relationship to God. But then we hide that bright light of ours under a bushel basket. But why? Why would we do that? We go through acting as if, and we do a great job, right? But are we declaring it? We make fun. We say that unity on the Space Coast is the best kept secret in Titusville. Everybody's going, oh yeah. Oh yeah. But if that is the truth, aren't we responsible for that? Why would that be? Are we not declaring it to our family, our friends, and our coworkers? If our pews, I love it, if our chairs in the sanctuary are empty, isn't that our responsibility? Declare it. Declare it. Now, I'm not saying take a big old sign out to the corner. Now, I can see Zach actually spinning it and doing his thing. If we gave him a sign, he'd make the most of it. He'd be out there. But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about going out and getting a sign and saying, freedom through the principles, you know, and all that kind of stuff. Or to even say anything remotely close to, this is the only answer. Because we know it isn't. It's just a great answer, but it's not the only answer. And for those who have no answer, we'd love to share it. You know, the way they do it in recovery is one person in recovery just holds their hand out to another person in recovery and offers their experience, strength, and hope. And that's how we can hold people up. That's how we can support them, strengthen them, bind them. You know, recovery isn't successful because it has big billboards or has a speaker, a dynamic speaker on the Oprah show every week. It's successful because one person helping another, declaring to another that this is how I get centered. This is how I know that God is good and the only true sustainable power in the universe. This is how I know that. This is where I was. This is where I am now. That's how we do that. So, that's how we are mother to the world. I never got around to telling you what our talk was about, did I? Talking about being the mother to the world. Doing all of those motherly gifts for everyone that we come in contact with. Not just our children, not just our family, but everyone. So will you use your powers of love to be the mother of the world? That's a huge ask. But is it really? I mean, is it really? All you have to do to be the mother of the world is every person that you come in contact with gets your love. Everybody gets your love. And I promise you, you give everybody that you come in contact with your love, they'll give their love to somebody else. And they'll give their love to somebody else. We do exactly what is ours to do right here, intentionally, with power, with might. Like we would throw ourselves in front of a train or oncoming traffic to save a child. That motherly instinct of nurturing, loving, protecting. We've all got it. And we've all been called to do it. So will you do it?